ராஜ் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடலாமா? ராஜ் ராஜேந்திரன் ராஜ் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடலாங்க.
ஹலோ
ஹலோ
ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணலாம் ராஜ்.
ஹலோ ஸ்கூல்மேட்,
ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடலாங்க.
ஹலோ
கேக்குதுங்களா?
இப்போ வந்துச்சுங்களா?
வந்துருச்சு சார்.
ready, everything set, ready, go. Everything set, ready, go.
Yes, start.
ஓகே அதே ஓச மாத்தலீங்க, மாத்தி விட்டாச்சு. ஓகே ரைட். சோ ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடலாங்களா?
பண்ணிடலாம்.
Yeah, good evening to everybody. On behalf of IAP TNSC, I welcome one and all, and I welcome Dr. Shanmugasundaram sir for this wonderful eyes interpreting Coulter reports effectively, and for the primary care pediatrician. And now I invite our dynamic president, Dr. Ismail sir, to deliver the points. Okay. Hello.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Raj.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Professor Shanmugasundaram sir, Professor Srinivasan sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
And Dr. Palniraman, Dr. Rajendran, and all other delegates who are participating in this program. Warm good afternoon to everybody. As a part of this presidential action plan, we are having this module, fourth in this nature, interpreting the Coulter effectively. The first program was done by Dr. Palniraman and subsequently by Janani Shankar, and third from the West Zone, Shashi Ranjani. And finally, the professor from Madurai, he is doing the fourth module. I welcome you all for these deliberations. Thank you, sir. You can go ahead, sir.
Dr. Palniraman sir, you want to add few words, sir?
Sir, Shanmugasundaram.
Good evening, sir. And best wishes for the presentation, sir. And eagerly waiting for the presentation.
Eagerly waiting to find fault with this.
Okay, sir. Sir, Dr. Shanmugasundaram sir, please proceed.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon to all of you, sir. Respected President sir, Ismail sir, President, respected Secretary sir, and all other professors and pediatricians. Good afternoon to all of you. I first of all thank our President Dr. Ismail sir and Dr. Rajendran for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And I also thank Dr. Palniraman sir for giving me this module, who has developed this module also. Special thanks to him. Let us start. And today's topic is interpreting the Coulter reports effectively. Madam Pushpa, I have attended one or two CMEs conducted by her, but I have not been a student of her. Respect to Dr. Pushpa. And today we will deal with how to do, when to do, and how to interpret this Coulter principle. Most of the time we see only the hemoglobin level, we see the WBC count, we see the platelets, and leave the rest of the data unused. But these data will be very, very helpful in our day-to-day practice in helping to diagnose and in also to proceed, how to proceed further for the diagnosis. This will be very much useful, these data. So today we will be looking after the how these data can be used. CBC, that is by this Coulter principle, should be the first investigation for any case. This will give not only a clue for the diagnosis, but also will direct you how to proceed further. This is Alice Coulter, who has invented this wonderful principle. These are some of the machines that is present in the market: Beckman, Coulter, Siemens, Abbott, and Siemens. Always daily we should standardize the machine. We should check whether the results are correct using the microscope, peripheral smear studies. Before going into the cases, let us let us see what is the normal cell count. What is the normal total count? The normal total count in a pediatric age group is between 5,000 to 15,000, and any count more than 15,000 is considered to be leukocytosis. Similarly, not only the total count, but also the absolute count of neutrophils and absolute lymphocyte counts are very, very important. Regarding neutrophils, when the count is absolute neutrophil count is more than 10,000, we call it as neutrophilia. And when the lymphocyte count is more than 8,000, absolute lymphocyte count is more than 8,000, then we call it as lymphocytic leukocytosis. When the count is less than 4,000, then it is designated as leukopenia. The other cell count for RBCs, hemoglobin, if it is less than 10 grams for all purposes, we can consider as anemia. And even though the total platelet count is between 1.5 to 4 lakhs, for all practical purposes, if it is less than 1 lakh, we consider it as a case of thrombocytopenia. Let us see the first case. This is a 3-year-old child with a high fever, but plain, not sick. And the fever is not responding to paracetamol. Parents are very anxious, and they themselves go to the lab and get tested themselves. This is the report given by them. The WBC count here is 7,500, and there is a relative neutrophilia, but the count is only 7,700. It is not exceeding the 10,000 mark. Hemoglobin is 13.2 and platelet count is also normal. So it is a normal CBC with the relative neutrophilia being done on the first day. This report will not be contributory to our diagnosis. They will not contribute to anything. So you should not do it on the first day. Now coming to the second case. This is a 15-month-old male child with a high fever for 24 hours. On the first day itself, the child had generalized tonic-clonic convulsions. CBC was ordered, and the result is like this. The WBC count is about 20,000. The neutrophil is 12,000. And so there is a leukocytosis with neutrophilia. Hemoglobin level is normal and platelet count is also normal. So it is neutrophilic leukocytosis with anemia. Generally, as I said in the previous case, it should not be done on the first day. It will not be very much useful, except in case of malaria. This smear should not be done on the first day. So this is not contributory, but why there is a neutrophil leukocytosis? It may be due to stress reaction. The stress is here convulsions, generalized convulsions. What are the other types of stress? If there is a repeated vomiting, that is also a stress. If there is a tachypnea due to asthma, then that is also a stress. In all these conditions, you will get a neutrophilic leukocytosis. So it should not be done on the first day because it may be due to their stress reaction. Sorry. The third case is an 8-month-old child with the fever for 3 days, and on examination there was no focus of infection. CBC was done. Here also the total count is about 20,000. The neutrophil count is 14,000, more than 10,000. So there is a neutrophilic leukocytosis, normal hemoglobin, and a normal platelet. So here it is a neutrophilic leukocytosis done on day 3. So this says that there is some infection somewhere. So you have to have a thorough examination to find out the focus of infection. It may be a urinary tract infection, or it may be a pneumonia, or it can be a meningitis, or it can be a bone and joint infections. We have to have a thorough examination, and also you should order for further investigations to rule out the urinary tract infections and all in this case, and treat as a case of infection, particularly abscess. Case number 4. Here there is a case with the strawberry tongue. Usually strawberry tongue occurs in a case of scarlet fever on the 3rd day. Come on, looking at the report, the WBC count is 25,000, neutrophil is 16,000, the hemoglobin is normal, and platelet is also normal. The another important factor here is the mixed group. There is a 5,600. The mixed group consists of eosinophils, basophils, and monocytes, but most commonly it is eosinophils. So it is a case of neutrophilic leukocytosis with eosinophilia. Eosinophilia usually occurs in a bacterial infection, especially in scarlet fever. So this is a case of scarlet fever. Moving to the next case. This child was brought out with a swelling in the neck, and the CBC report shows that the total WBC count was 19,000, and the neutrophil is 11,000, hemoglobin is 9.8, anemia, and the platelet count is very much increased. Thrombocytosis is present. So there is a neutrophilic leukocytosis with anemia with thrombocytosis. Thrombocytosis also indicates there is a infection. So neutrophilic leukocytosis indicates there is a infection. So on examination, the child has a swelling in the retropharyngeal area. So it is a case of retropharyngeal abscess confirmed by the X-ray also. So moving to the next case. A 3-year-old child with the fever for 6 days, rash on the 3rd day, present on the palms and soles, and the fever and rash was present beyond 5 days. This was investigated. The CBC, the neutrophils, the total count was 23,000. The neutrophils was 16,000, and anemia was there. Platelet was very much high, 8,833. That is 8 lakhs. So neutrophilic leukocytosis, anemia, and thrombocytosis indicates, as in the previous case, a case of infection. Further, ESR also shows that it is 103, showing that there is an infection. So you have to have a thorough examination to find out any focus of infection. Also, you have to do investigations to rule out infections like urinary tract infection, urine examination, blood culture, and all. And if you rule out all other infection, and if there is no focus of infection, then this can be due to Kawasaki disease. Case number 7. A 3-year-old girl with fever for 5 days. Clinically, there is no signs and no focal signs and symptoms. Child is very comfortable and playing, improving day by day. The CBC shows WBC count is 23,000. The lymphocyte is more, 6,000, 13,000. The lymphocyte count is more than 15,000. So there is a lymphocytic leukocytosis. Lymphocytic leukocytosis usually occurs in a viral infection, particularly Kawasaki, echovirus. All these viruses will have lymphocytic leukocytosis, and if you see a smear and if there is an abnormal lymphocyte, it can be infectious mononucleosis. The only bacterial infection that can be suspected in a case of lymphocytic leukocytosis is pertussis. This is the 8th case. A 6-year-old female during a season, monsoon season, had brought for fever 4 days, high grade, continuous, and poor appetite.
Hello.
The CBC shows that leukopenia was there, and hemoglobin was normal, platelet was normal. Leukopenia again can be a viral cause, but if it is a monsoon season, always in our area, we think in terms of dengue fever or other tropical fevers like malaria and typhoid. This is 7-year-old boy coming from a village with the fever 5 days, non-toxic, no eschar, splenomegaly was present. The CBC showed a WBC count of 5,600. So the WBC count is normal. RBC is hemoglobin is normal, and platelet is around 1,09,000. Probably there is a borderline thrombocytopenia. So again, borderline thrombocytopenia with normal leukocytosis can be a case of, with the splenomegaly, 5 days fever, can be a case of scrub typhus. We gave doxycycline and the child was normal. During a monsoon season, again, another case with the fever 4 days, vomiting, abdominal pain. The CBC, WBC was normal, 6,200. The hemoglobin was 13.8 and the hematocrit was 41, which is very much increased. And platelet is only just 39,000, saying that there is a thrombocytopenia with raised hematocrit. Usually, in a case of dengue fever, we should have 1 or 2 readings to say that the hematocrit is very much high. But a single reading in a monsoon season with abdominal pain and vomiting, we can consider dengue in this case. Another case of dengue, where there is leukopenia, thrombocytopenia with raised hematocrit. Here, another case with leukopenia and just thrombocytopenia, where the hematocrit value is 36. In this case, if you are going to do it in the evening, and if it is done in the evening or in the morning, again, if there is increased hematocrit, then it is a case of dengue fever. Now, after finishing the WBC count, let us have a look at the RBC cases, anemia cases pertaining to anemia. This is a 1-year child with a recurrent breath holding spell, and the CBC showed anemia, very severe anemia of 3 grams with normal WBC count and a normal platelet count. Once we see anemia, the next thing we have to go is to look into MCV. MCV is 50.6. Normally, if it is less than 70 femtoliter, then we consider as a microcyte. And Once hemoglobin is less and MCV is less, MCH is also less, then we have to look for the RDW. If it is more, here it is more, 22.8, then it is iron deficiency anemia. Anemia with microcytic hypochromic and iron increased RDW indicates that this is a case of iron deficiency anemia. This case was referred to me as a case of anemia not responding to iron therapy. The child was being given iron for 1 month, but the hemoglobin level was not improving. So I took a automated hemogram and it showed that the hemoglobin was 8.9 with the red blood cell count of 5.12 million and mean corpuscular volume was 63.6, indicating it is a microcytic. The red cell distribution width is not very much increased. It is very close to normal, that is 17.9. Since the red cell distribution is close to normal, it may not be iron deficiency anemia, because in iron deficiency anemia, it is usually very much high. So it can be whether it is a case of thalassemia trait. We go for this Menster index. This will be very much helpful in identifying whether it is thalassemia or iron deficiency anemia. You divide the mean corpuscular volume 63.6 by 5.12, that is the red blood cell count, which will give 12.42. Anything, any value less than 13 indicates that it is thalassemia trait, and any value more than 13 indicates it is iron deficiency anemia. In this case, if it is less than 13, it is thalassemia trait. Then I want to prove it. We did iron studies. Iron studies were normal, and high performance liquid chromatography showed that hemoglobin A2 was 5.1. Value more than 3.7 indicates that it is a thalassemia trait. We have proved our case. An young adolescent girl came for anemia. The knuckles and the nail beds were pigmented, and the CBC showed a severe anemia of 6 grams. WBC count was normal, platelet count was normal, and the MCV was 119, indicating it is a large RBCs. RDW was also very much increased. So a macrocytic anemia with the increased RDW, then it is a case of megaloblastic anemia. In megaloblastic anemia, because the maturation is affected, not only RBCs but also the other cell line also will be affected. So in most of the cases, not only anemia will be there, there will be also leukopenia and thrombocytopenia. In those cases, if you have a doubt, after seeing anemia, leukopenia and thrombocytopenia, we can wrongly diagnose this as a case of leukemia. But see, in this case, in the right hand side, which you have given, see the neutrophils, it is 4,500 and the total count is 7,100. Since there is no absolute neutropenia, this is not a case of it is not a case of leukemia, and it is a case of megaloblastic anemia. Another girl, 8-year-old girl, came for recurrent jaundice. The CBC in this case is given like this. Total count 14,000. RBC, hemoglobin was 10 grams, and MCHC was very much high. It is 37. The only condition where MCHC is very high is spherocytes. This child, being a girl and having a recurrent jaundice, can be a case of hereditary spherocytosis, since the cells are normocytic normochromic anemia with increased MCHC. Always, when you want to diagnose hereditary spherocytosis, one of the necessary investigation is you can investigate either one of the parents must be a case of hereditary spherocytosis, as hereditary spherocytosis is an autosomal dominant case. In this condition, in this case, the mother also had similar picture of jaundice with the increased MCHC and anemia. So this is a case of hereditary spherocytosis. Coming to the 13th case, it is the child with ecchymosis and bleeding from nose. The CBC report, the hemoglobin was normal, the MCV was normal, the MCHC was normal, RDW was normal, and platelet count was very much low, 12,400, and mean platelet value is also 12.5, which is higher. Normally, the platelet count will be between 7 femtoliter to 11 femtoliter. Here it is 12.5. So there is a larger platelets. So there is a large turnover of platelets in the bone marrow. So this is a case of idiopathic thrombocytopenic purpura. And if the platelets are very small, then the bone marrow is not functioning. It is aplastic anemia. In those conditions, you will get a small platelet volume, less than 7. So this is a case of thrombocytopenic purpura, idiopathic thrombocytopenic purpura. So this is the 14th case. This child had fever on and off for 10 days, had petechial spots noted for the last 3 days. The CBC is given here. The total count is 7,400. The neutrophils hemoglobin is very much reduced, 3.8. The platelet is 10,000 only. So all the 3 cell lines are very much affected, and the absolute lymphocyte count is more, 9,400, with the neutropenia also present. So anemia, normocytic normochromic anemia, thrombocytopenia, and lymphocytosis, we should think in terms of acute lymphoblastic leukemia, which is common in children. And apart from the data, you may see some of histograms in our automated hemograms. There are 3 histograms we commonly seen: platelet histograms, WBC histograms, and RBC histograms. This is one case. This case was actually came to Theni Medical College. One of my student from Theni Medical College sent this CBC report and asked me to interpret. That case was actually a 3-year-old male child having a history of diarrhea, and was brought on that day with oliguria, and on examination the child had anemia. So the marked thing in this automated hemogram was that the platelet histogram, the right limb of the platelet histogram was very abnormal. Normally, the platelet histogram will be like this. Like this. It starts from 2 and ends by 20 femtoliter. If this is the bell curve, and if it is like this, then this is abnormal. Such a type of platelet histogram can happen when there is a severe microcytes, or when there is a fragmented RBCs, or when there is a giant platelets, or when there is a platelet clumps. So I said that since the child looks like a case of hemolytic uremic syndrome, look for any fragmented RBCs, and luckily they immediately did the peripheral smear, and the peripheral smear showed fragmented RBCs. So histograms will be very much helpful in some of the cases as here. So this is a case of hemolytic uremic syndrome. The carry home message is, with this, I like to say that in any automated hemogram, not only hemoglobin, WBC and platelet should be seen, the other data should also be interpreted, and which will help you in finding the diagnosis, and also you will guide in other investigation. What other investigation you should do in this case? That clue will be, you will get it from this CBC. So the carry home message is primary hematological problem, anemia, thrombocytopenia, along with the smear study. The utility value of CBC is very good, and dengue CBC is a very useful tool in diagnosis and management. CBC is an investigation which we should use day in, day out, and it will be very helpful in day-to-day practice. Thank you. Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Stop share பண்ணலாம் sir. Stop share. Thank you, sir. It was a wonderful presentation. That hemolytic uremic syndrome platelet histogram is a really fantastic histogram. Very diagnostic histogram. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Pani, are there any questions, Pani?
இல்ல chat box எதுவும் இல்லைங்க. Chat box எதுவும் இல்ல.
Okay.
Chat box எதுவும் இல்ல.
So thank you, Shanmugh Sundaram sir, for giving us a wonderful talk. And really, it was an eye opener with a lot of histograms and very basic teaching. It was very nice indeed. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Sir?
Shiva, are you there?
Sir? Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Sir,
Good afternoon.
very nice presentation, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, small question, sir.
Yes,
sir,
sir.
while we are looking into peripheral smear, for reticulocyte, we are using methylene blue or some other special stain. So when do we send the blood samples, sir? Immediately within 1 hour or half an hour? Is there any specific time to look for reticulocyte count, sir?
Reticulocyte count?
Sir,
You
for
are
looking